8:36. Now, you may remember that back in January we heard from the Cardiff-based charity Life for African Mothers, which was extending its programme to improve maternal mortality rates to Ghana. That's one of the 8 Millennium Development Goals that United Nations countries have pledged to achieve by 2015. And with less than 1,000 days to go before the deadline, we thought we'd catch up with the Life for African Mothers project. 4 medical students from the University Hospital of Wales in Cardiff have just spent a month in the Ghanaian capital, Accra, where they've been working towards that goal. They're now back in Wales and they've sent us this report.
Right, I think we better start, ladies. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this 3-day workshop.
I'm Charlotte.
I'm Mark.
I'm Aoife.
And I'm Mike.
And we're all fourth-year medical students. Over the past few weeks, we've been in Accra, where we've been helping to teach skills courses to midwives.
Put her to bed. She's in bed. So what are you going to do? So listen to the FH. Listen to the FH then, Pat.
The workshops were led by Pat Donovan, a midwifery lecturer in the UK. The main focus was to upskill midwives in emergencies during childbirth and encourage them to train others.
Arm side of the mat. Yeah. And this arm. One finger there, one finger there, one finger there. Keeping it flexed. Breathe now, Mrs. Breathe, breathe. Let's bring it up, bring it up.
Helen Mary Basin is the Acting Director of Nursing Services for Greater Accra. She told us what she hoped staff there would gain from the courses.
We want to improve on the resources in terms of human and the material resources. Capacity building to equip them with the necessary skills to help them to provide quality care, to reduce maternal mortality and morbidity. There are several interventions going on to help achieve that goal by 2015. Even if we are not there, we are sure of getting drastic reduction.
We just finished our first day of the training course. It went really well. I think we're all pleased. I think there are things we can do better tomorrow. The midwives seem to really like the scenarios we did, so I think more scenarios tomorrow.
They put the drip up, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you rupture the membranes? Yes. If you thought they were intact?
On the final day of training, the local midwives we'd been working with gave us some valuable feedback.
It has replenished our mind. We've remembered what we learned in school and all that we learned and that we are not implementing it. Now we remembered, so we are going to do it effectively.
I really learned a lot, especially the new things like the water delivery, which is not practiced in Ghana. I saw how it was practiced and how beneficial it is for the mothers and the babies.
And that sentiment was echoed by Helen Mary Basin from Greater Accra Nursing Services.
For me, I'm highly impressed about even the training that your organization is doing for our midwives, because you are equipping them with the skills, take proper care of mothers when they arrive with such complications, and this is what we are aiming at.
It's also been a big learning curve for us. We got teaching on obstetric emergencies that we never get taught on as medical students. And we took a lot from the midwives and their experiences about this.
I learned skills in dealing with obstetric emergencies I just would never have had the chance to learn in the UK. It's not part of our syllabus and no one would ever have taught us. So if we come across someone in the street or in the hospital that is in labour and we can help, we've got these skills now to do something about it, something positive, and we know the right thing to do.
It was an eye-opening experience for me, and it's given me a lot of confidence to go forward and carry on with my career plans.
The majority of the memories I guess I'll take back are some of the situations that those midwives have been placed in and the facilities that they are working with.
Probably dancing around the classroom singing a paracetamol song, which the midwives all seem to love dearly and wanted to teach us in every opportunity. I think that one song would be the greatest memory I'd probably take away from there.
Paracetamol, cetamol, tamol, tamol,
The paracetamol song. There we go. It's a good learning device, that, actually, definitely.
Yeah.
And it sounds like great work's going on there in the Ghanaian capital, Accra. Of course, we wish Life for African Mothers the very best with that project, and our thanks to Charlotte Dubinsky, who compiled that report.
Now, an 18-year-old not talking to his family anymore. I've had my kids say that to me on occasions. They're still talking. So nothing unusual about that. But on yesterday's programme, we heard from a mum who said that her 18-year-old son had decided never to speak to his family again and leave home, all due to a particular website. His name is Tom, mum's name is Barbara, and she's blaming it on that internet website. The website convinces people, apparently, that they should cut off all family ties. Now, this is her message to the man who runs it.
I just wish he'd stop obsessing over parents being evil and corrupt, and stop twisting people's minds, and stop telling them that the way to personal freedom is to rid yourself of these people.
Well, the man who apparently says that is Stefan Molyneux. Good morning to you, Stefan. Hello? Oh, good morning, Stefan.
Good morning.
Right, you can hear me. Right, sorry, I think we had a technical fault there, which meant that you weren't able to hear Barbara's message, which was that she wished you would stop, in a sense, meddling in family affairs and suggesting that parents are the evil ones.
Well, I can certainly understand why she would have that perspective, and I certainly do sympathize with the upset that her son's conversation with me has caused her. But I think that when someone asks for help, I think that if you do have the capacity to offer some useful information or some insights, to me it's like being, you're walking down the sidewalk and someone falls down, you try and help them up. So if she feels that it's meddling for me to listen sympathetically and to talk...
No, she feels it's meddling on your part to suggest to any youngsters that they should cut off all family ties. And her son, she tells me, got that message from your website, that that's what he should do.
Well, that's, this is a matter of public record. The conversation that I had with the fellow is available on the website. I said that he was, obviously this is a voluntary, all relationships are voluntary when you become an adult. You can get divorced from a marriage, you can break up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, and if you find that your family relations are not able to be positive for you, then you have that choice. That's not something I'm making up, that's a fact of life. Now, I do say that people should try and work things out with their family if they're having those kinds of problems. But...
Are you telling me that you would never suggest to somebody like Tom that he should turn his back on his family? You would never suggest that he should do that?
In the conversation I had with Tom, I simply reminded him that the relationship is optional. I said, you can stay, you can go, but it is a choice that you should make.
So at no stage would you have suggested that he should go? You just told him he had choices.
Saying to him that and what would it mean? I'm just some guy in Canada who does a philosophy show.
No, but I'm just asking you whether or not you ever suggested to Tom that he should go and turn his back on his family and cease all communication with them. Did you suggest that at all?
No.
You did not?
No.
Why do you think Tom's mother believes that's the case?
Let me be even more clear. That the book that he read of mine called Real-Time Relationships, I suggest that if you're having problems with your family, and this is common advice, to sit down and tell them how you think and what you feel and what your experience of the family is, and talk openly with them. So, no, and that's the book that he referenced in our conversation.
Barbara tells me that she found Tom was becoming more insular and spending time in his room, and she could hear your voice coming over the internet. She wasn't aware of what those conversations were. And then she gets a note from him saying he's gone and he's not coming back.
Well, that's not what she said in The Guardian, though, right? I mean, what she said in The Guardian was that she tried for quite some time to negotiate back and forth. And he wasn't just beamed up by some, alien thing on the internet. There were family issues, which I don't have to go into here, but they're all, she's talked about the violence that he experienced at the hands of his father. And she says in The Guardian that she went and negotiated with him and tried to work out the relationship with him, and it didn't work. So
okay. Unfortunately, due to a technical fault at the beginning of this, you weren't able to hear what our other listeners were able to hear, and that was her plea. Now just have a listen to this if you would, because I told her I was talking to you on today's programme and asked her what she would like to put to you. Have a listen if you would, please.
I just wish he'd stop obsessing obsessing over parents being evil and corrupt, and stop twisting people's minds, and stop telling them that the way to personal freedom is to rid yourself of these people.
Stefan?
Yes.
That was...
I heard what she said, that I am somehow telling people that they should rid themselves of their families to be free. Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Well, that's nonsense. I'm having a baby in 4 weeks, right? I mean, well, not me, but my wife. But so the idea that I think that personal individuation, that happiness, that independence is to be gained through spurning family, no, of course that's nonsense. I mean, but I'm sure that it's easier for her to get mad at me than to talk about the real pain that her son was talking about in the conversation that he had with me.
Would you email Tom and tell him what you've just told me now? You're having a child yourself. You would never ask a child to turn their back on their family. Would you email Tom and tell him that?
First of all, what would it matter? Even if I did say that, what would it matter?
It would matter enormously to his possibly to Tom, if you are a great influence in his life, and it would matter enormously for him to have the support of his family rather than to cut himself off from his family.
So is the thesis that the only problem in this family is a philosopher from Canada?
I'm saying that according to Barbara, the philosopher from Canada, namely yourself, that you have an enormous influence on this young man, and that as a result of that influence, she is telling me that he has turned his back on his family. Now, if there is some confusion, would you email Tom and tell him that that is one thing you would never suggest to him?
No, what I will do is I will say to you, and I'm sure if Tom hears this, or to his listeners, what I will say...
Tom, I gather, is in Sheffield, so he's well away from the area of this programme, unfortunately.
Well, I'm sure that he will hear about it. Unfortunately, this has become a bit of a thing.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that when Tom was talking to me and very emotionally and very passionately and tearfully talking to me about the physical terror that he lived in his household, that his father would smash up a room, would smash windows, physically terrorized him for years. If this family structure thinks that a short conversation that I had with him, where I showed strong sympathy for the abuse that he had suffered, if the family thinks that this is my fault, that the family is in crisis, they need to think again.
If that were not the case, if his father had not done those things, and I have no idea, and I am not suggesting that what you're saying is the case, I do not know that to be the case. If that is not...
Sorry, Barbara has said that it's the case.
Yeah, but I'm just saying...
She says that the father had violent mood swings.
Right. Is there any value in Tom maintaining a relationship with his mother?
I can't make that decision. It's not...
No, I'm asking you, do you believe that there would be any value in Tom maintaining a relationship with his mother?
I can't make that determination. I mean, how could I? It's not my family. I can say that it is very bad to physically terrorize a child.
I would agree with you, absolutely. Absolutely. No question about that at all.
Obviously, picture this, right? If I were running a show and some woman called up and said, my husband has been physically terrorizing me for years, and I said, you're free to leave that relationship or stay, it's up to you, but I think it's absolutely terrible what he's done to you, that would not be a controversial statement. Would you agree?
I would agree. Stefan Molyneux, thank you very much for joining me on the programme this morning. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.